Hello viewers, I am going to talk about Indian paleography in relation to South Indian inscriptions. This episode is of 6 segments and they are Introduction to Paleography, Brahmi, Mauryan Brahmi, Kushana Brahmi, Shatavahana Brahmi, Ikshwaku Brahmi, Kannada Telugu, Tamil Grantha, Tulu, and lastly the conclusion. Introduction to Paleography. Paleography is the science of studying ancient or old symbols or signs. The word paleography is derived from two Greek words, paleos, which means ancient or old, and graphy, which means symbol. As the word itself suggests, it is a science which studies ancient or old symbols or forms. It is also taken for granted that the scripts are very much symbolic, and that is why the scripts can be identifying as symbols or signs. Therefore, paleography is a science which makes the study of the different scripts. Origin of scripts. As far as the origin of the scripts is concerned, the European tradition mentions that the alphabets are invented by Phoenicians, the inhabitants of Phoenicia, which is a small island on the south of Mediterranean Sea and within the reach to Greece. In the context of India, different signs are found in the rock art of Upper Paleolithic and Neolithic periods. The archaeologists like A.L. Gaurhan attempted to classify signs of the Upper Paleolithic age as wide signs and narrow signs. Anyhow, the direct relation between the development of script and the use of different signs is a problem still to be solved. The development of graffiti marks, which are found mostly on the pottery of both Neolithic and Chalcolithic periods, both in North India and South India, forms a scale to identify different stages of the development of scripts. Discovery of Indus civilization in 1921-22 AD provides the new material evidence of writing, which is popularly known as Indus script. But the evidence in the Indus Valley is very poor in language, literature, and script. On the seals, a variety of signs are found. Archaeologists like S.R. Rao and Irvatham Mahadevan are stating that the signs found on the seals are very much communicable and state that they are not the prototype of any script, but a variant of developed script itself. But it is very much clear that there is no script in the immediately succeeding Aryan period, which is having a vast lore of literature, very much communicable. Moreover, if we accept the presence of any script in Indus Valley, there is no literature to be called by the name. Finally, the identification of the relation between the scripts in the historical period and the Indus Valley epoch is a problem not yet satisfactorily traced, established, and solved out. Boustrophedon writing. Some of the archaeologists are stated that the Indus script was written from left to right and right to left, alternatively called Boustrophedon. Historically, in India, there were number of scripts. The scripts like Brahmi, Nagari, Tamil Grantha, Kannada, and Telugu, etc., are written from left to right and have a wider geographical and chronological popularity. The scripts like Kharosthi are written from right to left and resemble Indo-Arabic and Aramaic scripts and are limited in use both geographically and chronologically. Another variety of scripts like Modi, Shanku, etc. are also found used by limited people in limited times. Of all these scripts, Brahmi acquired national status. Nagari was more in use in entire North India. Kannada script is very popular in Karnataka. Telugu script is in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh for Kannada and Telugu languages in South India. Grantha script was in use in far south for Tamil language. Brahmi. The discovery of the Indus Valley writing has led some scholars to guess that Brahmi was locally developed out of the Indus Valley system. But no one has been able to demonstrate how this evolution could take place. But it was locally called as Brahma Lipi. The pioneering efforts of James Prinsep made the Brahmi script very much intelligible. He could decipher the records in Brahmi and explored the secrecy of those records. The evidences of Brahmi are found as early as Ashokan period and as late as the Ikshwaku period. Hence, Brahmi can be found as early as circa 350 BC and as late as circa 300 AD. Thus, Brahmi can be seen used roughly within a span of 600 years. During this period, the Mauryan, Kushana, Shatavahana and Ikshwaku dynasties made use of the Brahmi script. Several records of this period are presenting varied dimension in the script. Mauryan Brahmi. This script, which is found the Ashokan epigraph and pillar edicts, forms a majority source for identifying the typological aspects of Brahmi characters during the Mauryan period. Even though the evidences like Battiprolu casket inscription are presenting a regional variant of the same Brahmi, most of the evidences are displaying Mauryan Brahmi letters. The chronological limits of Mauryan Brahmi can be found from circa 380 BC to 100 BC. In the Mauryan Brahmi, the vowels and consonants are not having any serif on the top of the letters, which is very common later period. In the Mauryan Brahmi, there is no continuous effort to identify a manner of writing every letter continuously. As such, most of the letters are joined together by different vertical and horizontal strokes as per the convenience. All the letters can be very much divided into strokes of individual characters, which is very much difficult in the later and subsequent periods. Moreover, the curvature in the later letters cannot be seen in the Mauryan letter, even though the letters like Kha, Ga, Ya, Ra, La, Sa, etc. are representing curvature. It is very much uncontinuous and cannot be identified as an invariable feature of every letter. It is because most of the letters had complete development in vertical strokes and the lack of either the horizontal or curvilinear development of the letters made them appear very much incomplete. In the Mauryan Brahmi, in medial forms with simple vertical and horizontal strokes are quite distinctive from the body of the letter. Kushana Brahmi. The script which is found in a majority of the Kushana inscription is christened to be Kushana Brahmi. Chronologically, Kushana Brahmi is datable to circa 1st century AD to 150 AD. This is found not only in the Kushana inscriptions, but also found in the records like Junagadh inscriptions of Rudradaman and others, represent very much calligraphical affiliation to such script which is called Kushana Brahmi. One of the most important characters of this stage is what is called as serif. The serif cannot be found very much recognizable with the forms like horizontal stroke or a Nile headed or a U form, but it is like a simple dot, as it is the serif become one of the inseparable parts of the letter, even though the same is found very much separated subsequently. In the Kushana Brahmi, all the vertical forms in the previous era took a right turn and gradual upward growth of the vertical strokes paved the way for the gradual evolution of the letter into roundish form by circa 800 AD. Particularly, the letter like A, Ra, which has very much verticality in representation, attained curvilinear forms. One can understand that the impact of the Kharoshthi script used widely in northwestern parts, which is written right to left like Urdu, Arabic and Persian script, gave an insight for writing the vertical forms upwardly. The same attempt to write vertical form upwardly gave forms an evolution to take curvilinear appearance very much roundish at a refined stage. It can also be found that the letter like Kha, Ga, Ya, Sa, etc., which are curvilinear in appearance in the early days, retained in the same forms with a much more development. Thus, the Kushana script is very much characterized by the dot like serif and curvilinear form. The letter like E, which have no form except the dotted appearance, gradually gained the form. Shatavahana Brahmi. The script that is found in the records of the Shatavahana is christened as Shatavahana Brahmi. This variant of Brahmi was in practice from circa 100 BC to circa 200 AD. The famous records like Naneghat inscription of Naganika, Nasik Prashasti of the time of Vasishthaputra Pulumai, to the only a few are written in this script. In the Shatavahana script, the serif become very much apparent and it can be identified as a significant body of letter. As far as the letters and their bodies are concerned, the vertical letters like Ka, Ra, etc. acquired an initiation for rightward curve. Though this curve is not very much bold as in the case of letter records, it is undeniable that the verticality of the letter cannot be maintained for over a long period. In the same way, already somewhat finished letters like the, dha, ba, etc. retain the same features. On the other hand, letters like dha, na, la and sha became developing the curvature in the bottom, even though no letter promptly developed curvature on the left side, which is very much a signal for revolutionary change in letter for a roundishness. Ikshvaku Brahmi. In the lower Krishna valley, a regional variant of Brahmi is found in the records is of the Ikshvaku kings. Hence, the same script is called as Ikshvaku Brahmi. The records that are available at Nagarjunakonda, Jaggayapeta, etc. form an important source for identifying the Brahmi of this Ikshvaku period. This script was more in use from circa 200 AD to circa 300 AD. In the Ikshvaku Brahmi, the letters are characterized by a well developed serif which is still a horizontal stroke. This is very much bolder than that of the Shatavahana serif. In the same way, the script found a greater development of rightward and upward growth of curvature for the vertical characters like ka, ra, etc. But a curvature did not go up as to touch the serif itself. The development of the curvature on left side of the letter is very much prominent as in the case of ha, pa, sa. Such type of curvature can be seen developed more in the case of the letters like bha. The development of the roundishness on the right top can be seen in the letters like ta. Kannada, Telugu. This is more popular in Deccan, particularly in the immediate south of Godavari. The records written both in Kannada and Telugu languages are found inscribed in the Kannada script. The evidences are very much clear to identify the existence of the Kannada script changing in different stages up to 1200 AD. Subsequently, one can see a deviation by the development of local script for both Kannada and Telugu individually. Kannada retained some of the earlier characteristics, whereas Telugu developed a complete change. The Kannada Telugu script is found to have developed in 3 stages from 4th to 6th centuries, early period from 7th to 10th centuries, middle period and from 10th to 12th centuries later. As noted above, the development in Brahmi, it is worth to consider a specific development that is visible in the Kannada Telugu script. While tracing the evolution of Kannada script and language, one can find out a considerable change in the basic script of Kannada Telugu. It is identified to have had the first stage of development during the Kadambas of Banavasi. The second stage found during the early Chalukyan period from the time of Pulakeshi the first to the period of Vikramaditya. The third stage is traced from the period of the Rashtrakutas. The change in Kannada Telugu script is more apparent in the second and third stages, but the first stage is very much similar to that of the Shatavahana period. The letter A and their changes, for instance, very much pro-Shatavahana up to the Rashtrakuta impact of 8th century AD, wherein shorter form had the upward projection on the right side very much developed, touching the top. In the elongated form, a small leftward curvilinear stroke is found developed. The change is very much significant in the case of E, which is in the form of 3 dots. During the Mauryan period, became to the form of 3 curvilinear strokes, and after joining of the 3, it became as a present form of E. Sanskrit continued to be the language of inscription of the parts of India till late medieval period. Meanwhile, the regional languages also began to be used in the inscriptions. It has been already noticed that the language of the cave inscriptions found in Tamil Nadu is presumed to be an early form of Tamil language, and as such is the earliest Dravidian language to be used in the inscriptions. At a later period, the copperplate characters of the Pallavas, the Cholas and the Pandyas are written in both Sanskrit and Tamil languages, though some of the Pallava grands like Vennaguruvayappalam plates of Parameshwaravarman I, 7th century AD, and Reiru plate of Narasimhavarman II, 8th century AD, are written entirely in Sanskrit. The later Leiden plates of the Chola king Rajaraja I, 10th 11th century AD, are written partly in Sanskrit and partly in Tamil, while the smaller Leiden plates of Kulottunga I, 11th 12th century AD, are written entirely in Tamil language, while early Pandya inscriptions are written partly in Sanskrit and partly in Tamil languages. The later records of the dynasty are written only in Tamil language. Next to Tamil, Kannada is found used in the inscriptions found about the 5th century AD onwards. The Halmidi stone inscription and the Vaishnava cave inscription at Badami are considered to be the earliest inscriptions written in Kannada language. All the copperplate grands of the Chalukyas of Badami are written in Sanskrit language, but in stone inscriptions, the later portion containing the details of grant is written in Kannada language. Similar is Karnataka, that is the Rashtrakutas, with a few exceptions. The British Museum plates of the Rashtrakuta king Govinda III, dated Shaka 726, that is 804 AD, is written in Kannada language. For a long time, this inscription was considered as the earliest copperplate grant in Kannada language, but recently another copperplate grant belonging to the Alupa king Aluvarsa II has been discovered at Belmannu in the Udupi Taluk of the Udupi district. Though it is not dated, it is assigned to the 8th century AD on paleographical grounds, and thus it becomes the earliest copperplate inscription in Kannada language discovered so far. There are many inscriptions which are written partly in Sanskrit and partly in Kannada. And even in the records which are composed in Kannada language only, the invocatory or the benedictory verses at the beginning and the imprecator verses at the end are in Sanskrit language. It is also interesting to note that the Kurikyala in Andhra Pradesh inscription of Jinavallabha, brother of the famous Kannada poet Pampa, is written in three languages, namely Sanskrit, Kannada and Telugu. Telugu language is used in inscriptions from 6th century AD onwards, while some Telugu place names are mentioned in earlier records. The Kalamalla inscription of Yerikala Muturaja Dhananjaya, assigned to the last quarter of the 5th century AD, is considered to be the earliest record completely written in Telugu. It is only from the 15th century onwards that Malayalam language appears in the inscriptions, although in an earlier Tamil inscription of the 13th century AD, Malayalam influence is noticed. The Attingal inscription of 1452 AD and the Tonnal inscription of 1457 AD are written in Malayalam language. Tamil Grantha script. In the Tamil land, the earliest scriptural evidence is with the cave inscriptions of Sangam period. That script is identified to be a variant of Brahmi, like Battiprolu silver casket inscription. A continuous change in Tamil script can be seen from 7th century onwards, with the continuity of the royal authority of the Tamil rulers. Since the time of great Pallavas, the Tamil script underwent changes continuously and thus evolved the present form of Tamil script. Thus, the Brahmi script evolved in 4 stages, forms the base of the North Indian Nagari and South Indian Kannada, Telugu and Tamil scripts. Tulu script. In addition to the above, I discovered Tulu inscriptions written in both Tulu language and Tulu script, and Tulu script and in Kannada language in western coast of South India. The Alupa ruler Kulashekara Alupendra, who ruled from 1160 to 1220, was known by many Kannada inscriptions. Very recently, I discovered an inscription of Alupa Kulashekara at Kota Hire Mahalingeshwara temple in Udupi Taluk of the Udupi district. It is written in Tulu script and Kannada language. Another inscription discovered by me at Kidur in Kasaragod Taluk of Kasaragod district. It was written in Tulu language and Tulu script. These discoveries are not only provided the historical antiquity to the Tulu language, but also wiped out the traditional belief that there was no script for Tulu language. Paleographically, the Kota inscription of Alupa Kulashekara is datable to 12th century AD. Thus, the antiquity of Tulu language is proved as older than the Malayalam language. Conclusion. On the whole, in this discussion, we try to understand South Indian paleography right from 3rd century BC in general and the evolution of South Indian scripts of 5 Dravidian languages. Almost from 3rd century AD, the Dravidian languages like Tamil, Kannada and Telugu developing their own scripts slowly, and the Tulu from 12th century and Malayalam from 15th century AD. But the paleography of Tulu is not known. It is in its infancy and under study. However, the South Indian paleography has much scope for the further study and so many questions still remain unsolved. Particularly, the short writings or signs found on megalithic potteries and cave inscriptions found in Tamil Nadu are not satisfactorily explained. Similarly, the origin of Tulu script is still under debate and serious research is needed.